Guess who's back in the house? I hope that you guys are having a wonderful Thursday. Tonight, I just watched the latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, Season 11, Episode 11. This is the Makeover Challenge, and I love the Makeover Challenges. And so before we start off the episode with the queens walking back into the workroom, and Vanjie has just eliminated Sugar, and she reads her message off of the mirror, and she's very emotional about lip syncing for the second time in the competition, and she declares that she will not be in the bottom ever again. And so I was really feeling for Vanjie. I talked about on a previous episode, and also Silky brought this up, that it's kind of like difficult to change your drag because you are already in the competition and you can't leave the competition to purchase new drag. What you have is what you have. And so we do learn that Vanjie can alter her garments that she currently has. And so I'm actually curious as to why she hasn't used the fabric wall to kind of like judge up some of her previous outfits on the runway. And so during this time, Angeria speaks directly to Silky and asks her how she's feeling. And Silky confessed that she felt defeated in the moment because of the judges' critique on the 2 episodes ago for I can't even think of what the challenge was, but it was the face kini, where the judges thought that she was a roach and that her outfit was not a very good look for her. It was very basic. And then for this previous episode, for the magic show, the judges stated that they could see her pads underneath her outfit on the magic show. And she said that she felt defeated and that she kind of like let their commentary weigh her down, and she went into a very dark place. And I love that we get to see kind of like this self-realization and this humility from Silky. It shows that she's kind of like this complex individual, and she's not what the other contestants paint her out to be, as this villain who is unable to see herself as she is. And so I wish that she would take some of that humility and really allow it to show that she's very vulnerable and that she is someone who isn't on 24/7 in terms of like her personality, but she can allow some of that vulnerableness to help her in the competition. And so fast forward, it's the next day in the workroom, and it is the fake bitch slap mini challenge where the girls get to slap the ish out of each other. And suddenly the library is open, and I was a little saddened that their reads this time were better than the reading challenge. I wrote some of my favorites down. So when Silky is talking to Nina and she says, "You big grilled cheese eating mother trucker," I fell on the floor. I was laughing so hard. It was hysterical. Then Angeria said to Nina, "Get out of Brooke's ass. That's Vanjie's position." I I was on the floor. I was on the floor. Vanjie said to Nina, "Why are you always playing the ugly Naomi Smalls?" Oh my god. So Brooklyn wins this challenge, and I think she won like a $2,000 gift card somewhere. So the eliminated queens return for the makeover challenge, which is so exciting. And it's exciting for the queens because one, they already have a connection with these girls, and they're making over existing drag queens, so it should be easier. Should be easier. And so actually not all of the queens come back, which was kind of confusing. I need to like research well, it's 6 girls remaining in the competition, so of course there can only be 6 returning queens. But my favorites didn't come back. Raja, I really would have loved to see Raja come back. Mercedes did not come back, and Kahana didn't come back. And I was actually shocked to see Soju because she was the first to go. So I was surprised to see her return. So because Brooke won, she is allowed to pick the pairings for the makeovers. So for herself, she chooses Plastique because they have a similar aesthetic. And Plastique is also, like Brooke, a pageant drag queen. And so for the other contestants, she pairs Nina with Sugar, Evie with Scarlet, Angeria with Honey, and Honey looked delicious with the beard. I was like, when you're done with this challenge, come over to Inglewood so we can holla. Silky with Soju and Vanjie with Ariel. The pairing of Silky with Soju was so shady, but Silky's commentary about the pairing was hilarious. Silky, in the confessional, said, "Why on earth would Brooke give me this girl who came in day one looking like Ronald McDonald?" Ronald McDonald. Oh my gosh. The first part of this episode was hilarious. My day at work was horrible, and this just changed all of that. It erased all of that for me. So thank you, editors at World of Wonder. That was just hilarious. The strange thing is that we learned that Soju has tendinitis along with her sis. And so because of her tendinitis, she can't walk in heels, and that she walks in kind of like a quote-unquote sensible heel. I'm not giving $1 to a queen in a sensible heel, and I'm certainly not giving $1 to a queen who can't perform on stage. So if you want my dollar, you need to be in a heel that is like 10 inches. And you better strut in the heel. I'm not giving my hard-earned money to any girl that's in some jelly slides. I really hope that Soju turns out to be like the Naomi Smalls of this season, where Naomi Smalls, during her season, gorgeous, pretty face, could pose, could not perform. She came back on All Stars with a vengeance and became a lip sync assassin. So I hope that happens for Soju. And so Rue walks into the workroom and talks to all of the girls. And so she talks to Silky about the critique from the previous episode about her padding and how they could see it and how she needed to put on more tights. And putting on more tights will prevent the judges from seeing the padding, and it would smooth out the padding. And so Rue is kind of like asking for an explanation from Silky, and Silky basically states that she is at a loss for words because she's frazzled about that entire situation. And I can understand how she feels. She's in this competition, they're filming. She has been in pageants, a lot of pageants before coming to this drag show. And so in the pageants, she is loved by the audience, the judges. She performs the house down at these pageants, and this is probably the first time that anyone has told her that her padding was showing, and so she is really not able to form words to give to Rue, and Rue is visibly upset. I think that Rue really likes Silky and is hoping to see Silky in the top 4, top 3. And so I think Rue was really let down. And I think you'll see that later in the episode as well. And so then Rue talks to Nina about Nina's house, or the House of West, and Nina has 17 kids in her house. That is a lot of kids. And that's beautiful. Like, I'm not in a drag house. I'm not a drag queen. I love the show. I've never heard of a drag queen off Drag Race or on Drag Race that has more than like 5 kids. So for her to have 17, that just illustrates how big of a heart that she has and the love that she has for drag. And I really love Nina. Nina is an activist. Nina has raised millions for Columbus, where she lives. And the more that I learn about Nina West, the more that I grow to love her. I think that she's an incredible talent, and I can't wait to see a House of West performance in the near future. And so after Rue leaves, the editors show Angeria looking curiously at Nina and Sugar's outfits with like a screwed up face, and this is great foreshadowing because Angeria is saying that this outfit looks like costumes and it's not going to translate well on the runway. The editors are shady. And so fast forward, Nina asked Scarlet Envy, who were you surprised to see that's still here in the competition when you walked in? She immediately says, Silky and Vanjie. So Angeria says, I can't wait to drop this information in the workroom tomorrow. So Angeria wants to clear the air the next day when they're preparing for the runway. So the first thing she talks about is Wiggate. So apparently when Ariel Versace, when she was eliminated from the competition, she left a wig for Silky, and she left a note stating that the wig was for Silky because Silky really liked the wig. And so apparently she was packing and forgot an entire rack full of wigs, and it looked like it was like 10, maybe more wigs. And so apparently there was confusion and people were scrambling to take the wigs. And if I was a drag queen on season 11, I would have scrambled and taken all of them, because Ariel and her boyfriend have a wig making company, and all of Ariel's wigs are from her wig company, and those wigs look good. And so I would have taken all of them and wouldn't have said a word. And so apparently Plastique took some, Raja took some, and I think Silky and Angeria took some more. And so when Angeria makes the statement that, hey, you made it known that these wigs were taken and you want them back. And what's her name? Ariel. Sorry, losing my train of thought. And Ariel basically is very mute about the situation. And Sugar states, yesterday you were up in arms that these wigs were stolen, and now you're very quiet. And so Angeria is dying on the inside and just loving the drama. Then Angeria points out that Scarlett made this comment about Silky and Vanjie. And this is where I want the editors to not be shady. This entire dialogue between Silky, Vanjie, and Scarlett needed to be edited out. This entire section felt like untucked. It didn't feel like the main show. What I do not like about this particular season is that we're getting more cat fights. During the previous makeover episodes, there was so much backstory revealed about the people who the queens were making over. We got the great episode, season 5 with Jinx Monsoon and the incredible Dave Lara, who, this was the military makeover, and Dave Lara had the hashtag I killed Judy Garland. And I actually love Dave. Dave lives in California and was my assistant at a writing workshop. And Dave also is someone that I featured in a documentary that I filmed about older gay men and the impact of HIV and AIDS on the gay community in West Hollywood. Dave is amazing and I love him so much. And so that also in that military season was was that the birth of Nebraska Thunderfuck? I think so. I think that was, because Alaska was on that season, I believe. Sometimes the seasons kind of like they're kind of like they melt together. So I think Alaska was on that season. If not, I can't remember. And was that that season 10, there was the YouTubers and influencers, and we had the great moment of the straight guy who looks like the fishiest person in the room. And so we missed out on that. And I missed the backstory. I missed the bonding between the the queens and the people who are being made over. And so it was just a big bitch fest, which the editors could have kept that. And so fast forward to the runway. The theme, of course, is drag, family, realness. One, Rue looks like a goddess in gold lame with these, the earrings are stunning, the brooch is stunning, and this teased out blonde wig. Raven has been making Rue look like a 70s Barbie doll, and I'm here for it. And so first out is Evie and Scarlett, and Evie really killed her look, and so Evie constructed a deconstructed denim look for herself and Scarlett, and so for Scarlett it was the first look that she created, and then for herself it was kind of like a an upgraded version of what she did for Scarlett, and so I thought it went well together. They both looked like they were from the same tribe, so I appreciated what Evie did. Then we had Nina and Sugar with the rainbow flag and transgender flag inspired outfits, and so in theory, I think that they were going to look great together, but it wasn't executed well, and the outfits looked very costumey, and there was no resemblance between Nina and Sugar looked horrible. She had on a pink wig. The makeup was not the look at all, and Nina is not like a makeup girl. She's all about performance and costumes. And so I knew that there would be a chance that Nina might have to lip sync for her life because the execution, it wasn't properly executed. And then we had Angeria and Honey, and they looked like they were in high Texas drag. Angeria had on her signature wig, and she had on this beautiful lemon honey gown, and Honey had on a tangerine gown, and they both had these keyhole cutouts. Very simple but well executed. And then we had Soju and Silky. I actually liked Soju and Silky's outfits. They were Studio 57 inspired outfits where it was very Sonny and Cher. Soju was Cher-esque with a long wig and a jumpsuit with bell bottoms, and Silky had on kind of like a swimsuit with these really cute flared out sleeves and a really cool belt and an afro. And so the jumpsuit, bathing suit were like this crushed velvet that was electric blue that I love the color. The color was beautiful. Then we had Vanjie and Ariel. They came out in these really cool ruffled evening coats, and then they took them off to reveal these beautiful blood red. Vanjie had on a jumpsuit, and Ariel had on a gown, and they looked like they were either, I think they were beaded or sequins. I couldn't tell, but they were really stoned very well in a similar pattern, and they had on these wavy blonde wigs, and Ariel actually looked like Vanjie. Like when they first came out, I actually thought that Ariel was Vanjie, and so I was so proud of Vanjie that she was able to make the judges proud and not lip sync. So kudos to Vanjie. And at the end, they did the Vanjie Vanjie. Vanjie. So that was cute. So I like that. Brooklyn made Plastique look like her sister. Like, for a second, I was confused. I was like, wait, who is this? The gowns, it was like a blue and red gown, but they matched. They were symmetrical. Their wigs were different colors, but I didn't mind because it was the same style of wig in a different color. Plastique was blonde. Brooklyn was ginger, almost. Ginger. Like a reddish ginger. They had this beautiful choreography that was well done, well executed. And there was a story behind it that Plastique is her younger sister who doesn't have the choreography, but Brooke still loves her and approves of her. And so I really love that. And so the question of the night was, who should go home? And there was a split between Evie and Silky. And so we learned that the top performer of the week is Brooklyn, which was well deserved. I knew it was either going to be Brooklyn or Vanjie. And Angeria, Vanjie, and Evie were safe. And I was gagged that Nina was in the bottom along with Silky. And the song was No Scrubs, which I was kind of shocked about this song. And it really was a boring performance. I wasn't impressed with Nina. And what really hurt Silky was that her belt fell and she almost tripped. And then she had a wig reveal that wasn't cute. And then she walked to the back of the stage and pretty much stayed there. And then did a split. And Angeria is so shady. She said that Big Silk looked like a walrus out of water. That was painful. And so Nina West is eliminated, which is so sad. And so once it gets later and later in the season, it gets really tight in the competition. And so it's really sad to see Nina go, but I know Nina is going to do extremely well outside of Drag Race. And so I can't wait to see her perform somewhere out in LA. And so we have reached the end of the review. I am curious to know, have any of your top fours, top threes changed with Nina exiting the competition? What are your thoughts about not having Kahana, Mercedes, or Raja? Raja would have been such good competition, but I just picture Raja like cursing out all of the producers and saying that she was not going to come back. Who do you think should have went home? Do you think that Silky should have went home? I thought that Silky was going to go home. I was gagged that Nina went home. And then RuPaul's response after they both ended the lip sync was like, yeah. I thought she was going to send both of them home. So let me know your thoughts on this episode. And I am so excited for next week because next week we get Todrick Hall, which he does great choreo. I was looking at the Kitty Girl live performance, and that is just so incredible. And Todrick worked his butt off for that. And so I hope we get something that's equal to that. Because I really, the choreography with, what's his name? The guy that did All Stars, his name is, I think it's like Ellis or something. He was on like America's Got Talent. It's like Ellen or Ellis. I can't think of his name, but I wasn't really impressed with the choreo. And the weird thing is that the choreo that they did on the show or in the performance wasn't a lot that aired on TV, which was weird. And so I'm glad that Todrick is back. So have a wonderful night, guys. Until next week. Besos. Good night.